Hello, I guess we are live again. Okay, so can you confirm in the chat if I am audible properly? Yes. Good evening. So, okay. Hi. Hi, Bharat. Who know me? Or who is interacting for me for the first time? Who is interacting with me for the first time? Hi, Bhavya. Just wanted to check who is interacting with me for the first time. Because I was live few hours back. You are interacting with me for the first time? Okay. So welcome back. You have been in GFG YouTube for multiple time, but you are interacting with me for the first time. Yes. Okay. So people, those who was interacting me for the first time, my name is Vikas Thakur, and I am a software engineer and mentor at Geeks for Geeks. My area of expertise that I look in Geeks for Geeks is full stack development, right? Specialized in backend, and apart from that, I have been also a software analyst for a startup, so I am little bit in testing as well. And my you can say JS expertise comes first, like framework like Next.js. I have worked with Node, Express, Angular. My first programming language you can get framework was PHP. Have you heard about PHP? This session has been postponed twice or thrice. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's what postponed. It was scheduled, I believe, but on different platform. If I'm not wrong, on IBS it was there. Okay. So what we are going to discuss in this particular session, we are going to keep this very light or not stretched enough session. So I will not be boring you because the topic that is there or that I have chosen to spoke on, that is authentication and authorization. That lies within my boundaries of backend, but I can give you a, let's suppose, a lecture on 2 3 hours 4 hours on authentication in modern web application, passport JS, Google OAuth, JWT, session based authentication. There are tons of things to understand, but obviously this is not the right time, or you can say, or to dive into a 3 hour 4 hour session into that. And again, you guys will not be familiar with the backend first, or in my approach, what can be the good approach to understand that topic. That might be the scenario, but I will try to give you whatever is needed to ignite you on that path, that what actually authentication means and what actually authorization is, right? That's what I'm going to try in this particular session. And again, the motive of any bootcamp, whether it's this or any other of mine, or suppose my colleague as well, the motive of summer skill up session or motive of a skill up session is just to ignite that curiosity, that whether you are having, sometimes what happens now, let me be very honest or very blunt with you guys. Sometimes students do have the potential to understand things, but they are very hesitant, they are very shy, or where they are very lazy enough not to start by themselves. Am I right? You might be, you can say, disagreeing with this on point, but yes, majority of you might be agreeing if you are thinking rationally. In my time also when I was a student in my college back in 2018, so what I used to, I do have potential now, I realize, because I'm delivering session from past 4.5 years in backend and front end domain. But problem is in my time only, I just wanted somebody should give me a push, somebody should be give me a that you can say start okay, because you have to do this, because you have to do this, otherwise you will not be going this way and that way. And that's what the very weird thing of an student life, or you can say the, you can say, breaking point of student life is, if a student is not starting or igniting the curiosity within themselves to understand new things, it will be much difficult for third party to give you a push. But again, it is not mandatory ki I will not be giving you push, but that's the thing that we are going to try. So we are going to, especially what my mode of teaching, if you have interacted with me for the first time, or you will understand. Otherwise, if you have interacted with me prior, you know, only motive that I conduct the session with is to ignite the curiosity. If you are able to understand, okay, this is some interesting stuff going on in this particular domain, I will be exploring that after the session. That's the motive that I wanted to achieve in this session as well. Because uh, gulping you code or making you gulp the code at 1 hour session or 1.5 hour session is not, you can say, my type of delivery. I will show you code, I will type the code, I will give you understanding, but I don't expect you should remember that code for later part of your life or later part of your career. You need to explore the better way to particular thing to do this particular piece of code. Tons of way are available. Doesn't mean ki whatever Vikas is putting the code is the only optimal code. Obviously, I will not be putting the company grade code directly over here. Ki look at this company authentication code. This is GFG's authentication code. No, that we are not. We are going to understand pipelining of that. Ki how to pipeline your authentication, how to pipeline your authorization. What is RBAC? What is session based authentication? But the moment you understand those terms, you should have that ick okay, after this session, whether I will connect to that gentleman who was delivering session, or whether I'll ask for the notes, whether I ask for GitHub repository or some resources that I should utilize to understand those things. Otherwise, some of you might be just watching this video and going, okay, that's it, session was there, okay, it was good session or bad session, because was there, I know, because I don't know, because that's thing happen. But the motive of the session should be, whether you are a college student, whether you are a working professional, whether you are in first year, second year, third year, this is a topic that everyone has to face in their life. Whether you are coming from non-tech, tech, semi-tech, doesn't even matter. Whether you are TPM or product manager, authentication and authorization are the key that you do enroll or do utilize on daily basis. Before you move, and let me just drop my screen off. So these are only three. No, I will be also putting the code into it. But conceptual thing, that again is a theoretical concept in system design, in micro front end, or you can say back end architecture. You need to understand the pipelining of it. Later on, you can convert that pipeline into a code. You can use Java backend, you can use Fast API, you can use Flask, you can use Node.js. There are tons of things, because I don't know whether all of those 100 or whatever people are watching me is comfortable in Node.js. Can I say that all of you that who are watching is comfortable in Node.js? I would say no. Some of you might be coming from Java background. Some of you might be very good at Python backend, right? Flask, Django, Fast API, those kind of things. Some of you might be very good at PHP, Golang, those kind of stuff. So I cannot force any framework, right? I cannot force any language onto you. I will only discuss the pipelining of it. Later on, I'll show my code, that what I am comfortable with, to give you the understanding of the pipeline. Later on, you can convert that into your pipeline. It's just like writing a pseudo code for a DSA problem, right? Every mentor, you cannot write every you can say algorithm or the code in every language possible. Each and everyone have their favorite language to implement certain concept. So after that, I'll show you pseudocode. Then you will be able to convert that back in your home, hostel, whatever you are, wherever you are. You will realize, okay, this thing is important. Then whenever you are building any application, you can utilize that. Okay. So now let me just give you the screen of mine. Okay. Now I hope you are able to see my iPad screen. You are able to see my screen. Okay. Now only concept is there. Let me take one example first. If I wanted to, let's suppose, if I wanted to go from, let's suppose, IGI to, let's suppose, New York. Where I wanted to go, I want to go from IGI to, let's suppose, New York. There are few processes, there are few steps to it. Let's forget about New York going. Let's try to have a very basic example that will make sense to you, because everyone is coming from a Gen Z background, so you will be able to connect. Everyone has gone to a concert, everyone have gone to certain concert, everyone loves an artist, everyone have gone to a concert. Now let's suppose if you want to attend a concert of any artist, there are certain steps involved in it. Let's suppose there are few steps. The steps are, first you will buy a ticket. Simple. What you will do, You will buy that ticket, or you can keep pass, you can say whatever you want, you can say I will buy a ticket. Now after buying a ticket of that certain date of that concert, I'll reach to that stadium or wherever the location is. Let's suppose the location is a stadium. I will reach to that stadium right on time. What will happen after I reach to this particular stadium? You will say, "Ki, sir, I'll start watching the concert." No, there are few procedures, there are few prerequisites that you need to follow, that you need to fulfill in order to get the entry. Right? Where the entry is, there will be certain security guard. Let's suppose there are certain security guard involved. Pardon my drawing, but that's how I make humans. Okay, let's suppose there are two guards that is they are into the entry gate. What they will ask me, the moment I'll try to enter, first thing first, I need to go with the basic sanity check. Basic, you can say, go through of my body, that whatever I am carrying, is it offensive or not. For that, that is called sanity check. Simple. I will go through a sanity check. I will be going to a security metal detector, each and everything. Now, after that step I cleared, I will be in front of those two gentlemen. I will say, okay, I want to go into that stadium and I want to enjoy the concert. They will say, enjoy later. First, show me the ticket. What they will ask? First, show me the ticket. So, what I have to do, I have to present my ticket over here. And what they will check? What they will check in that particular ticket? They will check whether it's a valid ticket, whether this particular ticket is of the same so that you this particular thing is happening, same timing, same location. They will check for validation of it. It is the valid ticket or valid credential or not. The moment my ticket got verified, I will be entering into that stadium, and for sure that particular thing that happened just with the ticket, this was the one of the two step. Let's suppose first step was basic sanity check, second was कि मेरा उसने टिकट चेक कर लिया कि भाई तुम्हारे पास टिकट है प्रॉपर कि नहीं, उसमें प्रॉपर टाइमिंग वगैरह सही से आया हो कि नहीं आया, वो सारी चीजें उसने चेक कर ली फॉर वैलिडेशन कि हाँ भैया ये जेन्यून यूजर है that want to enter into the stadium. Now after that, what will happen? Because that particular ticket, the ticket that I am having, which have a passes parameter. What are the passes parameter, guys? Can you tell me some of the passes parameter that I am not very good at? Let's suppose I have not been to much of the concert. I have only attended one Kailash Kher concert in Delhi. But let's suppose there are 3 4 ticket types, if I am not wrong. Let's suppose gold ticket is also there. Somebody is saying ki, after gold, what is also the platinum? Let's suppose a general. There are 3 type of, let's suppose, category, 3 type of pass that can be there in your ticket. Whatever price you have paid, you should be having uh, that particular type of ticket. Okay, after that, let's suppose I am having a general ticket, or let's suppose I am having this general ticket, and in stadium there are categories. Let me check. Hello, hello, hello. Sir Raju Kumar this side, North 20 batch. Hi Raju, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Akanksha Singh Silver is also there. That means you have attended concert. Let's suppose Silver is also there. But I am having a general because I am very poor, so I will be having a general ticket. I cannot afford silver platinum. So let's suppose I'm having a general ticket, and after having general ticket, I saw in a stadium there is a, let's suppose, bands are there. Let's suppose general at the back, then silver, then platinum, then gold. These kind of you can say stretchers are there. But if I'm having general, each of them will have their entry point. Each of them will have their entry point, and each entry point will contain a guard. Okay, and whenever you will try to enter into that particular zone, specific zone, they will check for what? They will again check your ticket, and they will see, or they will look for a certain, you can say, a specific corner or a specific piece of data. What it will be? Can you tell me what the exact piece they will be looking at? Tell me. Hmm. They will be looking at the corner where the passes type is being written. Ki which type of passes you have paid for. And the moment I am, let's suppose I'm trying to move to, let's suppose, gold. and gold the guard will be checking ki in which category my passes belong. And the moment it will check he belongs to general class, or let's suppose general category, it will say no, you are not allowed to enter in this particular arena because this is a premium category, you are not allowed to enter. Now I will say ki no, I have been through security checkup, I have a ticket, why you are not allowing me to enter into the gold zone? It is the same thing na, same artist is performing, same location is there, why you are not allowing me to enter into gold zone? They will say, sir, you are not authorized to enter into this place. That will be the exact word that they will say. If the security guard is little bit let's suppose a gentleman, he will say, sir, you are not authorized to enter into this particular zone because your ticket that you are presenting does not get authorized into that particular zone, you have to go back to your zone itself, right? So what actually happened, I will be thinking I have gone through the security checkup, that why he is stopping me? So gentlemen, you have been through security checkup, that was known as authentication. First thing first, whether you are a valid customer or not, the thing that I will check for basic validation is known as auth-n, authentication. They will authenticate your data, they will check for the pass, they will give you a wristband, they will check your security checkup, each and everything. That is known as to make sure no other or no defaulter or faulty user comes into my system. Again, authentication and authorization is a part of security protocol in dev app, right? Now, I will be going through the authentication. Once I clear the authentication part, I have to check for authorization. In which part I can roam around in the stadium, in which part I am allowed to enter. Now, if you are feeling little bit overwhelmed with this example, let me just dissect this example little bit simpler manner. And in simpler manner, every one knows, or who is working professional knows, every company gives you a ID card. Okay, what every company gives? Every company gives you a ID card. Now, from that particular ID card, I can enter into, let's suppose I am working in Geeks4Geeks, so I can enter into GFG building, the Sovereign Tower in 136. I can enter into that. Nobody is going to stop me because I have a valid ID. If a person which does not contain an ID will try to enter into this particular building, what they will check? They will check for the ID. If the ID is not there, they are not allowed to enter into that company or the building. They should have a proper identity to prove that you are a genuine or valid customer or valid user. And the moment I enter into GFG, if I try to access server room, what will happen? Tell me. If I try to access server room, what will happen? Will I be able to open or access the server room? Tell me. Will I be able to access the server room? Answer is no. You will not be able to access the server room because you are not authorized to go to server room, because there are minimum number of people that have access to server room. That that can be IT admin, or let's suppose I am saying one more admin, let's suppose HR admin cannot enter, but let's suppose IT admin can enter into the location. I'll say IT admin, but IT admin and me are on the same floor, are on the same company, but why we are getting treated differently? Because of the access. Because ID, I will say, sir, I also have a ID, right? I also have ID, or when my friend, let's suppose ABC is a friend who isn't working in IT, he also have an ID card, and those both person is working in the same company, same floor, but they are having a different privilege, and that is known as access control, and that is also known as RBAC, role based access control. Ki whether you are allowed to access that particular resource that you are trying to do, otherwise not. Now, can anyone tell me how many days the class is being going on? I would know. This is the, you can say, session that I'm taking for the first time. Summer Club session is coming from last, I believe, 1.5 month. I'm taking session continuously on that, right? But this is the session that I'm taking for the first time, so you will be able to understand deeply. Now, these were the, let's suppose, a story domain. Okay, I have told you two stories to get you connected. There are two type of security purposes that exist. One is known as auth N, second is known as auth Z. Authentication versus authorization, it's a total concept comes from auth N versus auth Z, and it is the one of the most asked question into backend interviews. I have taken more than 400 interviews in my career, but I have never left any candidate without asking this question. Can you tell me JWT? Can you tell me session based authentication? Can you tell me what passport JS? Because this is the concept where your fundamental get tested, whether you are very good at fundamentals or you are just very good at remembering code. Everyone can remember code, everyone can write API. I'm not saying a good API, but everyone can write a route. But there are fewer people that can have a proper authenticated and role based controlled route. Now, again, let me revise it. Authentication means to basic sanity check, to check whether user is coming at right order with the right credential at right place or not. It can include email checking, password decryption using bcrypt.compare, or email checking whether the input is empty or not. Those kind of sanity check that I can write, or that also include middlewares that cannot be done using manual function, that includes some of the middleware like helmet course, those kind of thing also involved. We can also have some custom built middleware. I will also show you the code for custom middleware as well. But whenever it comes to authorization, authorization is also checking ki after sanity check, I don't have to check for authentication. I know this is my customer, but I wanted to check whether this customer have the access of that resource or not. Now, how will you check this access have or not? Now, have you faced any error like a 403? It was a 403 or 401. Have you faced any error 403 or 401? That is called forbidden or unauthorized access. Everybody who have tried to go a different route that is not allowed have faced this difficulty. 403, 401, unauthorized payment require. You can say those kind of errors coming from client side. Now, what does that mean? So every system follow a HTTP protocol. Now let's suppose there's a system A, this is a system B. Okay. Now from A, I will be raising a request for certain resource. Let's suppose I am asking for login. I want to log in into my system. So what I have to present? They will say, sir, you need to come with an email. You need to come with a password. And I will send in JSON, I will send this body. Okay, take this particular body which contains email and password and go to my system and make me login into my system. Now, what will happen? What is the flow? I will be using a post route. Do you know this? I will be using a post route to send the data to B system to get me the login done. Now, what will happen? The moment you raise a request in JSON format, there will be one middleware that will be involved. Middleware means the middleman between request and the response. And if you don't know what is middleware, guys, middleware is the guy, uh, just like broker. If you have searched for flat PG, there is a broker involved. You don't directly talk to the owner of the flat. You talk to the broker. Broker will talk to this particular owner of the flat, and it will he or she will be getting you a deal. Now, A first has to interact to this middleman. Let's suppose middleware. Let's call this MD. It has to interact with this MD in order to make a request. Please transfer my request to server and make me login. It will say, okay, relax. What do you have to do? First, you have to prove me that you are having a valid credential or not. So first it will check whether email is valid or not. That means you have used at the rate or not, right? Those kind of basic email sanity check. Do you have a password or a correct password, or you are entering with an empty password? They will do this. Then they will ask for whether this particular email that user is giving, is this particular email exist in my system or not, right? It will do a validation check to check with the system. Okay, tell me if vikas@gmail.com have in your system or not. So what it will check? It will check whether this user has created the account or not. If my account is not there, they will throw me out from here itself. Okay, you don't have an account here. Please make our account first, please register yourself first. Or what will happen on front end? Front end will redirect me to a register page, right? If this condition fails, that means if my sanity test goes right, I am clearing all sanity check, then what will happen? They will go and make me login. And while they are making a login, listen carefully, while they are making a login, they will do one thing. They will check for authorization. Authorization means कि whether this email have the access of user or admin or super admin. So they will check कि which kind of dashboard that I need to show, whether you are a user dashboard candidate, whether you are an admin dashboard candidate, or you are a super admin dashboard candidate. So whatever is there in my email have access to, I will be able to access this particular thing. Now if I want, let's suppose there is an API that involve, if I'm clicking localhost slash, let's suppose admin dashboard. If I try to access this route, what they will ask? They will give me, they will redirect me to an admin portal or admin login page. Or do you know admin login page are a bit different than a normal login page? Do you guys know this? Admin login page a little bit different than having a normal login page. Or let's suppose I am entering my credential that does not have access of the admin. Let's suppose I'm entering user at the rate gmail.com and password is 1234. That means कि I am entering the detail which have access of user dashboard, but I am trying to access the admin dashboard. What will happen? This will have a middleware in between. The moment you enter into this particular thing, they will first do a basic sanity check, whether all the thing is filled or not, password is 6 character or not, those kind of stuff they will do. Then they will make a request to server, please check whether this particular user exists in my system or not. They will not check for authorization first, they will check for the authentication first. If first do let me know whether this user exists in my system or not. So they will say yes, this user exists in my system. Now while telling this particular thing, they will also tell me that this gentleman have access of user dashboard. So the moment I'll give the access key, this is a user dashboard. So but user is trying to access admin, I will throw a error page that is going to be 403. That is called forbidden. You are not allowed to access this particular resource. Or you can say access denied. Yes, that can be a good term to mitigate that. Now, understood ki what is the difference between authentication and authorization? I hope you are able to connect. Again, there is no compulsion that you remember each and everything. Again, I am saying just ignition. I wanted you to feel that what actually goes in behind the scene, what is actually the pipeline. Do not remember code or do not get involved in ki sir remembers the code, so I have to remember the code. No, there is no point of that, because I took 4 or 5 years to remember this part of code. Okay, because I have taught 40 batches. That's why I remember. I have built multiple solutions. That's why know this particular stuff. You will take time. You will learn things while in the process. Now tell me, now you have a clear picture what is authentication and what is authorization, and what if somebody asks what is auth n versus what is auth z, will you be able to dictate that with the pointers ki what actually comes in authentication, what actually comes in authorization. Now once you are clear with this particular thing, now let's understand ki how many type of authentication that we can do. Authentication can be of two type. I'll be talking on general basis. Again, not a, you can say, best practices methodology that goes on. There is a tons more technique that can be involved. But for you guys, you can divide this authentication process into two parts. First one is going to be based on session. What is this session? That is called stateless or stateful. Stateful authentication. Auth. And second one is known as stateless authentication. And what do you mean by stateful or what do you mean by stateless? Just to make yourself you comfortable, I'll give you 1 minute discussion on stateless and stateful. Let's take an example. Whenever you are working with any REST architecture have 6 rules. First one is going to be the layered system, uniform system, client server architecture, and it is going to be a pattern. That is going to be a code on demand, stateless, and caching. There are six protocol that you need to follow. Now, one of them in REST architecture enforce a law. Law is going to be called stateless. What it is known as? It is known as stateless. Every system or every server should be a stateless system or a stateless server. What do you mean by stateless? So if you talk on scratch level, stateless means my server will not utilize any previous stored information on their portal to give you the information on the next request. And what does that actually means? Let me give you an example. Let's suppose I am going to a cafe. This is a very good example. Let's suppose I am going to a restaurant or cafe to have coffee, and I have taken, let's suppose, French vanilla latte. Let's suppose, I don't know whether this exists or not. Let's suppose I am using French vanilla latte for the first time. Or let's suppose I with sugar, and I gone to that restaurant, called the waiter, okay, and I ordered this particular thing, and after 10 minutes I received this. I have this particular coffee, and I back home, and after a few days, me again going with my friend, and the moment I enter into restaurant, what waiter actually do? They present me the same two vanilla French latte with sugar without asking me. How will you react in that situation? I generally ask this question every time, so you might have been familiar to this question. Well, how will you react on this situation if that waiter does not ask you anything? It directly present you the order, that is two vanilla French vanilla latte with sugar. How will you react? Tell me. Anyone? Love to know your perspective. What? How will you react? You will say, what is this? You didn't have asked me anything, what actually I want, and how many I want, whether I want to try something different or not. What you did actually, you just sent me this. यही यही बोलेंगे कि ये क्या दे दिया आपने, आई हैव नॉट ऑर्डर दिस. कम से कम पूछ तो लेते मेरे को. दैट्स व्हाट द एग्जैक्ट रिएक्शन ऑफ एवरी इंडियन वुड बी. भाई एक बार पूछ तो लेता मेरे से कि भाई चाहिए क्या है मेरे को. That means if my server or my waiter is remembering your previous order and utilizing that information, or assuming कि every time you are coming to my system or coming to my restaurant you will be ordering French vanilla latte, I will say no, that doesn't even make sense. कि I can order whatever I want, right? So what I said कि to waiter कि please जितने बार में मैं आऊं भाई मेरा ऑर्डर प्री एज्यूम मत करना. एवरी टाइम आई विल मेक ऑर्डर. सो दोनों दोनों के लिए आसान हो जाएगा. सो व्हाट दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग मींस कि whenever my waiter is storing my information to process upcoming request, that is known as stateful. What does that mean? They will be stateful. But what is the problem being stateful? क्या इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम है अगर मैं सारे ऑर्डर याद रख लूं कि इसके इसलिए क्या हो, कस्टमर का यूजर एक्सपीरियंस बढ़िया हो सकता है कि यूजर को कुछ भी ऑर्डर ही नहीं करना पड़ेगा. द मोमेंट ही एंटर्स ऑर्डर इज रेडी एंड वी आर गुड टू गो. बट क्या ऐसा करना सही रहेगा? क्या ऐसा करने में कोई प्रॉब्लम है? somebody might be saying कि सर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, and I will love to hear कि सर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, कि प्रॉब्लम ही क्या है. and some of you might be saying कि सर प्रॉब्लम है, and both are correct in somewhat a manner, because we guys exist in duality. We have a system that works in both way. I will tell you why. Being stateful does offer you something. कि अगर मैं कोई चीजें याद कर लूं मुझे कुछ फायदे हो सकते हैं. फायदे क्या होंगे? फास्ट ऑर्डर प्रोसेसिंग. सिंपल कि मुझे कुछ भी एज्यूम ऑर्डर लेना ही नहीं है. द मोमेंट यूजर एंटर्स मैं उसे कॉफी ला के दे दूंगा. बट इसके कुछ नुकसान भी है जिसको ट्रेड ऑफ कहते हैं. ट्रेड ऑफ का मतलब होता है कि भैया अगर मैं ये चीज करने जा रहा हूं तो क्या मेरे रेस्टोरेंट में सिर्फ विकास ही आते हैं क्या कॉफी पीने? Does only Vikas come in my cafe to have coffee? No. Let's suppose in 1 month there are 1,000 more customers that is coming into my restaurant, and if my waiter tries to remember every 1,000 order that is getting placed, it will be very hectic to remember all of the order. That means I have to store all the information with me. In that particular thing, collision might happen. What can happen? Collision might happen. Your order might be getting displaced or misplaced. Your coffee might be going to Akancha, my coffee going with, let's suppose, somewhere else, or somebody else, let's suppose Hardik or ki coffee come to me, because there is a single server, and if he is or it is trying to remember each one's order, there might be chances of collision. Is this true or not? It makes sense. It might, there might be chances ki I might get the wrong order, but it will be a damn fast. But whenever you want to try to make a consistent system, right? And there is a cap theorem that involves, do you guys know cap theorem? Tell me, type yes or no. Do you guys know cap theorem in system? Consistency, availability, and partition tolerant system. Let me check. Order can be exchanged. No, no, no. Okay, let's try. Okay, let me just, before going on to this one, let me try give you cap theorem as well. Ki whenever you want to evaluate any system, if I'm saying ki I want to evaluate your system, ki how powerful your system is, you need to consider three parameters to evolve or to evaluate. That is known as C, A, P. That is a very good concept in system design or high level design. C for consistency, okay, A for availability, and P for partition tolerance, or it is also known as fault tolerance. And if you guys have studied system design with me, you might connect what actually I am talking about. Let's suppose, what do you mean by consistency? Consistency does mean LR ratio LW should be 1. And what is LR? What is LW? I will tell you. LR means latest read, or LW means latest write. And the ratio should be 1. That means they should be equal. That means the moment somebody try to read latest data, it should be fed the data that is latest written. And prime example is of bank balance. Let's suppose if I'm saying if this is A, this is B. If I'm saying I'm having 10,000 rupees and it is having zero balance, and I'm sending 10,000 rupees, let's suppose 5,000 rupees to this one, so their balance should be updated 5,000, mine should be showing 5,000 in mine. But have you faced this difficulty or inconsistency in your Paytm, phone pay? When you refresh this particular bank balance, there might be chances that after 2-3 seconds your balance get updated, and within 2-3 seconds you might see the original balance, that is 0 rupees, and you might see the 10,000 rupees in your account. Have you faced this? Everyone have faced this in Paytm, Google Pay, or even those kind of official bank application. What actually this is? This is inconsistency. So whenever you are trying to make any system consistent enough that every time user try to fetch balance, it should be given the balance that has been latest. That means the moment I fetch the balance, they should show me 5,000 rupees in my a bank allowance. It should be showing 5,000 rupees. Why? Because there is a rule. There is a rule called Bayes theorem. Do you guys know? Because if you don't know cap theorem, you might not be aware about Bayes theorem. Bayes theorem is a condition in a system. What does that mean? It is saying basically available, soft state, and by this eventually consistent. And what do you mean by eventually consistent? Eventually consistent means that by default they are not consistent, but due to some processes at the end, I might get consistent eventually. If I'm saying if I'm let's suppose learning this authentication, eventually I will be getting in backend. Does that make sense? Eventually means it might be there, it might not be. It's a 50-50 game. So whenever you are trying to make your system consistent, you need to make sure the latest read or latest write ratio goes 1. Now to achieve this consistency, example like book my show. Book my show means कि if I'm trying to book, let's suppose, two ticket, if two user is coming simultaneously, he also wants two ticket, he also want two ticket. So if this particular gentleman is ordering the ticket first, so they should be show cancelled. Okay, oh, this has already been booked, so second number should not be doing payment. And this actually happens in IRCTC, right? That's why they are consistent system. Now, what actually consistent means, consistency can be of two type: eventually consistent, default consistency. Ki you can compromise on consistency by becoming eventually consistent with Bayes theorem, or you can be default consistent by compromising availability. That means if I want, I can be consistent, but I need to eventually compromise with availability. That means if user is trying to fetch balance, I should stop showing the balance till the time I am making a latest write. So every time user will show the balance, by the time I'm not ready with the latest balance, I will not show the balance. But on the other hand, availability means कि every time user is coming onto your system, you need to show them the balance, whether it's a previous balance or whether it's a latest balance. So availability means your system should always respond, right, whether you are giving the previous information or you are go showing the latest information. And the third one is called partition tolerant. Partition tolerant means कि every system at some point of time will face difficulty. The server will go down, the services will go down, and by the time they are faulty, can they be available? Can they respond back to me, whether the previous data or you can say new data? Can they be a fault tolerant system? That means if I'm saying कि कभी ना कभी, let's suppose, मुझे बुखार आ गया, I have a fever, can I deliver the lecture? Can I make my own food? Can I go to gym? Can I go to running? That means if I'm saying partition tolerance means your system might be at fault, but can you cooperate with other system? Can you provide the services at that point of time only? And if you are having those particular feature in your system, you can call your system a very good system, or very you can say a efficient system. But can you tell me, can all of these three system, can all of these three functionality can exist or could exist at the same time in a single system? Can this happen? Tell me. I want a response, because there is no point of going that deep in system design if you are not responding. No, that means whether you are either answer can be yes, yes, that system can exist, and you can say no, this system cannot exist. Abdul Rahman saying ki this system cannot exist. Yes, that means if you draw a, you can say, diagram. Let's suppose there is a C, there is a, there is a P. Consistent and partition tolerant system can exist. Let's suppose this system can exist and this system can exist, but there is no system that lies over here. That is a superset that have every feature of consistency. This look like a Superman, but yes, that everyone cannot be a Superman, which have all functionality, consistency, partition tolerant, and availability. Now, whenever you talk to being this one, that is called stateless or stateful. Stateful means कि whenever I am any user is coming onto my system, I can store the information of that particular order, of that particular request, and I can utilize that particular information to perform a next operation when user comes. But problem is कि memory space is limited, your server capacity is limited. If you are utilizing the full capacity just to store the information, how will you perform logical operation? For that particular thing, I wanted to become stateless. That means I will not. Is this a different series? Yes, this is a different you can say video, different live. Okay, this is a summer skill up. So there is a GFG initiative that is going on about summer skill up. So there is a placement season going on. So interview topics are being discussed by the mentors and the engineers just to make you comfortable around interview topics. And that is a sub part of, you can say, front end series that I am running on YouTube every Monday and Friday. Okay. Now, being stateless means ki, is a simple rule ki I will not store any information of the user. Every time user is coming onto my system, it has to come with all credential every time. That means every time I'm entering into that restaurant, I have to make the order again and again. Okay. Understood? Independent. Yes. Now, authentication can also be of two type. Again, I'm saying stateful and stateless. Now, are you able to connect what can be stateful or what can be stateless? Stateful means कि the moment user will log in into my system, yes, the moment user will log in into my system, I will store a session detail. Simple. A user, the moment user will log in for the first time, I will make a session detail. I'll store that session detail in session ID. Return a session ID, and I will store that session ID on server side. Or every time user will come to this particular thing, I will utilize this information of the ID, and I will confirm whether it is the same user that is coming onto my system or not. That means I can use the previously stored information just to make sure, just to check whether this is the same user that is coming onto my system or not, right? But again, if I'm storing all the session ID, let's suppose I'm having a 1 million traffic, how many session ID I need to store? 1 million. That means if I am storing that much of a session ID, it will be very hectic to manage those session ID. And if my server got attacked, right, if my server got attacked, there will be much data leakage that will happen. And forget about data leakage, who gives a damn about data leakage? But let's try to understand our capacity. Will I have the capacity on my server to explore as a backend as a service, because I'm using a backend as a service, let's suppose AWS, GCP, Azure, those kind of services? And can I store that much of a you can say information on the system without hampering my performance? So that was the previously pipeline of a stateful authentication. Now, what I thought, I should be not be storing those session ID everywhere, right? Now, what I transferred, I have made the authentication stateless. That means now I will not store any information of the user whatsoever, whether it's an email, password, anything. I will not store anything, but I will ask from user कि every time you come to my system, you need to present your ID. That is a credential, right? Understood? What is stateless mean? Stateless means I will not store anything from your side. You have to present the data. You need to make yourself authenticated every time you are coming. But let me tell you one thing. Every time user is coming onto your system after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, every time if he has to or she has to use email and password to make login into your system, will it be okay for you? Let's suppose, will it be okay for the system, or you can say product, if user has to log in every 5 minutes? Or let's suppose if you are using Flipkart and every time you are going here and there between application, they are asking you to log in again, you will say what kind of application this is? Do I have to present every time I am the same user, right? Thank you, sir, for this series. This is real helpful. Yeah, it means a lot, Akhil. We are trying to help as much as I can. Now, what I'm saying, ki, this will be very hectic for customer and user experience if I ask the detail every time it is coming onto my system. So what I did in stateless authentication, there is a legend that is there that is known as JWT, JSON Web Token. It is the master of stateless authentication. It said, now listen carefully because I'm going to give you understanding of pipeline. So that is important. Now, yes. Now, if I'm saying कि JWT can do a problem solving that was existing before, how? कि what is saying कि first time when user is coming onto my system, first time user coming onto my system, register them user. Let's suppose register them. Let's suppose hash their password using bcrypt stored into DB. First, that is called ingestion pipeline. First time user will come, we have to make user register onto my DB, so I can have the details of the user. Now after that, I will make yourself, or let make a user login, you using email, or it can be password, it can be username, whatever the credential that I require to make my user login. And the moment my user login, I will assign him a ID card. What I'll assign? I'll assign him a ID card, or you can call it a token. How many token I assign? Can you tell me? How many token I assign while making my user login into my system? Hmm. Participate, guys. Whether it's a YouTube or IBS, it's class. It doesn't make anything better if you are not participating. You have to participate. That will do. One, okay, sir. So API is not useful. Stateless authentication. JWT. Yes, JWT is different. JWT is a different library to help you with this problem. API is just a route. Now, some no content in saying one. Okay, you might be correct, but partially you are correct. We assign two tokens. We assign two tokens. First one is known as access token. Second one is known as refresh token. Right? We will assign two tokens. First one is going to be access token. Second one is going to be a refresh token. So why do we assign two tokens? Let's now connect with this pipeline. User making a register. After I am making user login, the moment user login, I will assign a ID card. That means for the first time when I will be joining my company, let's suppose GFG, they did a paperwork. They have taken a lot of detail of mine, lot of details. And after that, they have let me enter for the first time. That means they let me enter using admin credential, login into my system, login into company. And after that, they have assigned me a laptop and one ID card. And what did this ID card carry? It is the token that I can show to the gate that I will get entry without doing this paperwork again. Who I am, Aadhaar card, PAN card, passport, this, that, bank account detail, each and everything. I don't have to do this. I have to do this for the first time only. After that, I'll receive a ID card, and I can use this ID card to get the access done. Now, after assigning ID card, we have two tokens. Same goal. Access token is called short-lived token. It exists for the shorter amount of time. That is the first time entry. HR will let you enter for their card. There's called short-lived token. Refresh token is called long-lived token. That means this is your permanent token, you can say. So name is little bit confusing. Now access token is short-lived, by which I will be getting access. Refresh token is long-lived. So what does that mean? That means access token can be used to get the access, but it is short-lived. It has a shorter period of time of expiry date, and the moment it expire, we use refresh token to reassign this token or to renew this token. And now you will say, sir, refresh token is long lived, right? Our understood is refresh token is long lived. So if this is long lived, I can install this token now. I can steal this token and I can reassign the access token again. Yes or no? Is your, you can say, sir, mind telling you this? I can steal this, I can steal this particular refresh token and I can assign my access token again. Yes or no? Yes, na? But you cannot do that, because if you are able to get the refresh token, there will be no use of that refresh token. Why? Because every time we are assigning this access token, we are changing this refresh token. This is called reassigning or refreshment of the refresh token. So every time at some point of time, we change the refresh token. So if you get the refresh token, by the time you're trying to assign an access token, this token will change. It's just like getting HR's or let's suppose IT admin's password. So do you know IT admin have a regulation to change your password within 15 days or 20 days? So if you get the access of their password as well to log in into system as an admin, you will not be able to keep this password for so long. You will be getting kicked out after they change the password. Do tokens come with a cost? There's a free library, but yes, whenever you go on production level, yes, you have to pay for if you are having a premium level. But in JWT, no, you don't have to pay any cost. Now, access token and refresh token is there. Now, there is a problem. कि how do we assign after assigning token? How do we ask for token? I am assigning to the ID card. Now, who will ask for this particular token? Present me that you are having a valid ID. So there might be two chances. I can ask कि user should come every time I request is coming. User should present me the ID card. But that might also sound a little bit hectic. User is providing me BRR then token. Every time a header is being pinched, I can store this particular token into cookies, local storage, session storage, and cookies. There are few type of storage that comes under browser storage. So, but how we are deciding कि we are only keeping this cookies, we are keeping this token into cookies? Will it be available after live? And yes, it will be available in was live section in YouTube, and I hope it will. I'm very sure it will. Okay, now why we are deciding कि we should only go with cookies? Why not local storage? Why not session storage? Why not index DB? Why only cookies? Tell me, why only cookies? Any idea? Because there will be session will this 1 hour that we are conducting session, the session will worth it only when you will present your idea. Because I know these things, because मैंने ये 40-50 बार पढ़ाया हुआ है. मैंने इसके सिस्टम को यूज करके 20 प्रोजेक्ट बना रखे हैं. 10 कंपनी के प्रोडक्ट डिलीवर हो चुके हैं विद माई टीम. इसलिए मैं कंफर्टेबल हूँ. मेरा ये 1 घंटे बोलने का सिर्फ सेंस है तभी बनता है जब आप कंफर्टेबल हो जाए. वरना मेरा सेशन एंड होने के बाद मेरा कोई नॉलेज में कोई इजाफा नहीं होगा. देयर विल बी नो गेन इन माय नॉलेज, because what I have, I am delivering it. There might be you will be able to gain something out of it. That's why I am not directly rushing the session. If I could have, I could have rushed the session directly coming on to JWT and deliver. Why I'm going as base theorem, cap theorem, then session, stateless, REST API? Because I wanted you to enjoy the particular flow, so you can ignite that curiosity. Okay, this is something interesting. I should learn this thing after the session ends. Okay, cookies can be downloaded. Cookies stored in user place. Okay, cookie local storage is also a client place now. Session storage is also client place. Have you seen one thing? In cookies, we do HTTP true. Have you seen cookies? We do HTTP true. Whenever you pinch a cookie, when you submit a cookie, we add an attribute named as HTTP true. Because cookies is the only one thing that have a superpower. Ki JS injection is not allowed from outside. Only you can be able to inject the token from the server side using HTTP protocol. If some other party would love to inject something, would love to change it, they will not be able to access this particular token. Only server can pinch this particular server can send you let's suppose a token into cookies, and it can access the particular thing using HTTP. No other party could get the access of cookies, and that is the only reason they every time you go on website they ask you to accept cookies. Have you seen this? Every time you go onto website they ask you to accept the cookies on their behalf. Why? Because by default every system is asked to become stateless. They are no longer saving your data, but any system can be stateful by you providing the consent that you can store your information. For every token, every password, every session ID is stored in cookies. That's why every website asks for the access of the cookies. And that's why every time your website get attacked, every time your account get attacked, your laptop get hacked, only cookies will be stolen. And that's the reason you are able to find Netflix account, your ATM details, your Gmail ID password on dark web every third day, every fourth day, selling for $1 too. Have you seen you can buy Netflix account. You can find Netflix account, premium account in $1, $2. ATM, Visa, Pay. There are tons of black market. How? From where they are bringing this ATM details, or where they are coming from premium account? They are stealing cookies of the valid user. That's why they are saying ki blindly do not accept all cookies. There is a one more button called agree to term and condition, and they are having a accept premium. By you can select which cookie you want to accept, which cookie you don't want to. But what we actually do, blindly click agree, 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 and we are, because we want to just use the product. But if something is coming for free, then you are the product. Simply, that means your cookies will be stolen. Let me show you one thing right away in cookies. Uh, if I can show you this one. Let's suppose I am having this Joho people or something like that. Okay, this is the details of mine. If I click on cookie editor, you will be able to find there are tons of cookie that is stored. If I delete that cookie, all delete, clear. If I want to open this Joho people again, they will ask me for login. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? If I delete this, if I ask come on to this particular thing, they will ask me again. What does that mean? Ki by just deleting cookies, I am erasing my credential. That means this cookies specifically held something related to my account or my password or my credential that was helping this Joho to log in into my system without me actually login again and again. User detail gone. That means in this particular cookies there was a token, there was an access token, there was a credential that involved, that was letting Joho verify that it was because. So without asking me login again and again, they can check if this particular thing is because or not. Right? So if you delete this cookies, that means something of this Joho account that he was managing was gone. That means if I stole your cookies, I will not, but let's suppose if I steal your cookies, I will be able to analyze this cookie. I will be able to decode that cookie in such a manner that I can find your email ID and password. I can find some sensitive information to make you log in into my system, remotely log in, right? If this particular thing, so cookies is not the wrong thing if you are managing them very let's suppose smartly. So every token that you are assigning, you can assign the token with the access token with the expiry date, then you will be able to store that in cookie. So every time I am going on to this Joho people server can access my cookies, find out the login credential, and he will be able to make right login. Now come back to this and let's try to understand how actually JWT work. So before we end the session, I just wanted to let you understand how JWT work. Come on jwt.io, right? And you will be able to check. JWT consists of three things. JWT is a token which consists of three things. First one is going to be the header. Okay. Dot, it is going to be the payload. Dot, it is going to be signature. That means this particular token consists of three things, three factor separated by dot. First one is going to be the header, then payload, then signature. Right? Now, if I'm saying what is this header actually? Header is having some algorithm. Let's suppose HS256, this is an encryption algorithm or some other information. In payload, we can have your email, we can have your password, we can have your user ID, we can have your expiry date, everything for this token. In signature, we have an encryption key. There is a secret key. So I will encrypt your detail with a secret key and I will send that particular thing. The moment, listen carefully. Do you know one thing? It can be little bit overwhelming, or should I tell it? Let me tell you. If it get overwhelming, you need to digest it. If I'm saying, do you know if I'm connecting A to B via HTTP protocol, the data transfer into plain text? Do you know this? And this is known as TCP handshaking. In this called TCP handshaking, they will place this TCP handshaking and I get the resources. Yes or no? But this happens only on HTTP. What actually HTTPS? Tell me, you tell me, what is going to be the HTTPS? सर आप लाइव क्लास कब लेते हो? मैं मंडे और फ्राइडे रिएक्ट की लेता हूँ क्लासेस, जिसमें हम लोग रिएक्ट समझ रहे हैं एडवांस से. But how can someone find the email from the token if they are generated by? I will tell you, no worries. You can attach any payload if you want in that particular thing. Your email, your password, your photo as well, whatever you want to verify. Now, again, in HTTP protocol, there's a plain text that is involved. Let's suppose in plain text, yes, Aqua Test Transfer Protocol secure. That means if I add extra layer of protection over here, it become HTTPS. But what do you think HTTPS? If my data is in plain text, TCP handshaking is happening, and after that, when I add extra layer of secureness, that is known as TLS handshaking. If you don't know computer networks, you might have to study a little bit extra in you can say in that particular domain. Hmm. Understanding? There is a term called TLS handshaking. So when the TLS handshaking happens, we add extra layer of production and it become HTTPS. But you tell me, if B is a server that was reading a plain text, right? Now, if I am encrypting this particular data, how my B will be able to decrypt this data? Because B doesn't know how the data is being encrypted. That means whatever the key A has used to encrypt the data, B should have the same key. B should have the same signature to decrypt the data. Yes or no? B should have that particular same key now. Can you confirm this? Let me check comment. I but as answer protocol. Let's say that. Thank you. Okay, thank you. It means a lot. Yes. That means if I'm encrypting something up by a key, I should be able to give that key to B so it can decrypt the data. And how this particular B will get that particular key? So the process is known as TLS handshaking. While they are doing a TLS handshaking, my A system will expose a key or my B system will expose a key. Whoever is decrypting, encrypting the data will expose the key for a some moment of time so I can encrypt, decrypt the data. And that is known as in system design, there's a concept called module federation. Have you heard about a term called module federation in system design, high level design? There is a term called module federation where A service or B service can expose their code for some moment of time. So A or B, either of them can use it without revealing the actual algorithm. So JWT will not be revealing what actually I am using. It will only give you a signature. And my server or my this particular cheese can decrypt the data and can read the information out of it. So JWT is something that I will make login into system. I will assign a H256 header. Now look at this. Come to this particular thing. JSON web token. This is to JWT website, and we are having an encoder. We are having a decoder. Let's suppose in encoder, first thing first, I'm having a header. Okay. After that, I'm having a payload. Let's suppose I'm changing the payload. Let's suppose I'm saying Vikas Thakur, or let's have a email ID as well. Email abc at the rate gmail.com. Let's suppose if it allows, I can add. Let's suppose it is having .com. Simple. What I'm using now, look at this, because at the ending of a session I just wanted to show you what actually I'm trying to do. After authentication, when I log in into my system, I assign a token. Look at this token. This token, the first part is header separated by dot, then a payload which have all the data, then separated by dot, then we have a signature. Now let's try to create a signature, and signature name is Vikas123. Let's suppose I'm encoding this and we are having a Vikas123, but it is saying we, let's suppose keep this original as a secret key. Now After utilizing this secret key, this data and the header, I will be able to, what is this? I will be able to generate a token. Look at this token. And if I copy this particular token, this contain all the information about me. What it contain? It contains the subject ID, it contains the name, it contains the email, it can also contain the password. So this I can save into cookies, and every time server will ask for the information, it can access my cookies, it can fetch the email ID and password, it can verify whether it's the same user or not without asking me to log in again and again. Am I clear? Am I clear to this point? How actually this token being generated and how they can extract the information? Yes or no? Mhm. Do you understand till this point? Because there might be something that is very overwhelming in terms of system design for some people, but do not worry. Whenever you get time, you can watch this recording again and you can get the thing done, and you can also connect me on LinkedIn just for confirmation whenever you want. Now look at this code, look at this token. I'll copy this particular token and come back to decoder. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll copy this particular token over here. The moment I copy the token, you will see the decoded header. This is the header. Look at the JSON. It's the same detail that I am using. The data that I used, right? The data I have used to encrypt this thing, this is the same data that server can utilize with the valid secret key. Now look at this. If I remove the secret key and if I present my own secret key, let's suppose Vikas123, it is saying signature verification failed. It is also saying invalid signature. That means you cannot copy, you cannot manipulate, you cannot create a new clone of the you can say token. Token is a noble entity that will prove your identity. It's a ID card. Without this ID card you cannot enter into system without asking for login again. That means every time user is login, I will check the header, I will find out this information from the cookies, I will check whether this user is the same user or not. If this is the same user, I will say without making you login, I will be sending you on the home page. And if you are trying to manipulate a single digit, even let me just show you. If I try to manipulate a single digit, let's suppose long. If I try to manipulate a single digit, let's suppose I'm making my own token by taking a small I, it will say verification failed. That means it will check I have not encrypted the same data with that key, because the data that encrypted by me or my signature was different payload. So you cannot change the payload the moment of time I am decrypting it. It should be the same token which I have encrypted. So I will be able to decode it. So I need to replace this with the exact the same code that I got. The moment I do it, it will say valid JWT and signature verified. So without asking user login again and again, I will be able to make user login. Understood that what actually is JWT and how it works? Tell me. Yes. Now you can ask your doubt and question if you are having, because now I'm available for questions. If you want to ask any questions regarding your career and whatsoever, you can shoot at me and I will be helping you out with the same. Let me check comment for the questions. You can ask your question, guys. Not related to this as well. If you want to ask something unrelated to this as well, you can go ahead and ask. Till then, let me check the comment if I'm receiving everything. Let me paste my LinkedIn as well. So if you want to connect with me after this session as well, you will be able to connect. Okay, you can have this LinkedIn to get difference between refresh token and access token. For the first time when a user will be coming onto my system, I will assign him an access token, right? And I will also assign a refresh token to renew it. So the moment access token will expire, I will use the long-lived token, that is a refresh token, to confirm the identity that this is the same user which I have given, and I will renew the particular token of access. So access token will be used by a user to make login smooth, right? Now, if the access token will expire, I will use the refresh token to get the reference. Then I will be assigning the token again. Sir, in your entire career, did you ever felt that I should pivot from web development? Or yes, many times. Do you know I'm also teaching AI, generative AI as well, right now, right? Because you know something, because I started from PHP, then come to Angular, Laravel, then I started JS, then I worked with jQueries as well, then I worked with React JS until the time you are also working with this. And this particular thing, वो कहते नहीं चलते का नाम जिंदगी होता है. Every time you are into a you can say per a field, you need to go with a certain flow. You need to update yourself with the upcoming technology, upcoming technique that is available, upcoming framework as well. But you need to keep that in mind. There should be a foundational framework or library or a language that you have a very good command. वो कहते हैं ना कि you have to roam here and there. You can go around Manali, Simla, wherever, New York, but you should have a home. You should be having a place that you can call home, that you can come back to. That's what exactly. You should be very good at fundamental of something. Then you can utilize anything and any framework. Difference when we accept cookies in incognito mode. Incognito mode, they do not store cookies. Generally, cookies will be short-lived. Why industry prefer Mun in if Next.js allows server and more feature? Lightweight. Because being in Next.js, I have worked with Next.js. There is a one application. Have you heard about GFG Connect 101 platform? GFG Connect. It has been built on Next.js. There is a, you can say, a few things that is good and bad with you can say Next.js. Whenever you are having a Next.js, you have a compliances to go backend with it, to use hook. But if you want to go with, let's suppose we want to write backend in Django, right? We used to write Django in Next.js. We used to go with Nest.js for backend and modules and those kind of services, right? So compliance is also there, but just for one feature, we cannot shift to a certain framework. With the React, we have not, because if you watch my last section with React, I was discussing multiple parameter and pointers why we switched to React, because React was nothing simple function, but it did offer a lot of things that is apart from a singular library that made me adapt or made industry adapt the React is lightweight. It offers client side, server side rendering both, right? It is a lightweight, it is an open source community, right? It is having a large community of network. It is a lightweight. You can utilize a single you can say JS for backend. It has a compatibility, doesn't have compatibility issue. Component reusability is also there. Hooks is also there. So there are tons of feature that comes with certain framework or library to get you the understanding whether you want to use it or not, right? So if Munstack is something, or if everything comes to a cost, if I try to hire a Next.js developer, it comes with certain cost. But if you try to hire a Munstack developer, it is little bit less costly in terms of money when you are having a developer compared to Next.js. Because whenever you want to have a Munstack, engineer, it is a very easy to learn, but do not take it lightweight. If it is very easy to learn, so it will not be able to solve problem. It is solving majority of the problem that Next.js never could have. It was there before Next.js was even dreamt of, right? So do we need to have a personality like software engineer personality with industry and industry person? That's a very good question. Personality trait does matter, but I would not recommend to go in that debate whether you are having personality to become a software engineer, because software engineer does not have personality. Look at me. What do you see? Am I having a certain personality to? Can somebody in the market recognize me and say, "Sir, oh, this is because this is a software engineer in backend"? No, because it is something that it is thing called developer syndrome. Have you heard about developer syndrome? Syndrome is there. We don't have personalities. We have syndromes. This is called developer syndrome. Each developer feels that he doesn't know something. He doesn't know anything. The other party that is sitting alongside with him knows everything. He is able to, or she is able to do the code more efficiently than me. Even sometimes I do feel, when I train corporate, whenever I train faculty in faculty development program, I do feel कि यार इनको ज्यादा आता होगा मेरे से. But when we interact for the student, okay, this something away, this guy doesn't know this and that, then I gain the confidence. That is called developer syndrome. That doesn't make you less compatible or less knowledgeful. It is a syndrome that keeps you awake, that's keep you learning, that okay, you have to learn, because you might not be the smartest guy in the room, or never try to be the smartest one in the room. I never try. Every time you have interacted with me, I have said, "Okay, I try to learn something from you. You try to learn something from me." That's how things work. If everyone is the smartest in the room and that they consider that they are the smartest in the room, nobody will learn, right? Is it true that companies prefer TypeScript more than that? It is not true. What is TypeScript? TypeScript is a valid JavaScript. Simple. TypeScript is not a language. TypeScript is a build tool that whenever you are trying to build projects, so you don't do errors. That's why TypeScript is there. That is called strictly typed JavaScript. Whenever you are typing JavaScript with certain rules, that becomes TypeScript. So in project, every developer use TypeScript just to make their life easier. I do teach this kind. Yes, it's a superset of JavaScript. Just add some strict rules over JavaScript. Okay. If I'm saying my function in JavaScript, my function can return anything. It can return a string, it can return number, it can return function. But in TypeScript, I can define what my function will return. It will not return anything apart from that. That is the TypeScript. Just it. Sir, what is the need of signature? Because we can get the data from payload. How will I verify whether the data presented is signed by me or not? अगर आपको हिंदी समझ में आए मैं तो बता दूं. कभी आप मेले में गए हो? फेयर, हैव यू गॉन टू अ फेयर, विलेज फेयर, टाउन फेयर? वहां पे हम लोग एक चीज क्या करते थे, हम लोग टिकट कॉपी किया करते थे. ट्राई किया कभी टिकट क्लोन करने का? फोटो कॉपी, यू ट्राई टू हैव फोटो कॉपी ऑफ टिकट, वी ट्राई टू गेट द एक्सेस ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर फेयर. मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द टाइम रिजेक्ट हो जाता था, क्योंकि वो पहचान लेते थे कि भाई ये मेरी टिकट नहीं है. क्यों? टिकट का तो सब कुछ सेम है, डायमेंशन सेम है, डेटा सेम है, सब कुछ सेम है. क्या डिफरेंट था? उनका सिग्नेचर. वी हैव अ स्टाम्प, दे हैव अ यूनिक thing about their ticket, so that they get recognized. If you are using the identical data, identical token that they have not assigned, they will find out using signature. The moment you give token, because they have encrypted that token, so they will insert the same key, and if the token decrypted, then this is their token, otherwise it is not. It's just like end-to-end encrypted system. Simple. Sir, are developer introvert alone people? This is getting personal. Okay. Developers can be introvert, as I can say. I am very introvert kind of thing. If you call me, I will not be picking your calls. I 99%, if you see my call logs, I will not be picking anyone's calls, because I'm very bad at picking calls. I can give you message, I can give you a LinkedIn message, but I cannot pick your calls. Doesn't matter it is coming from my brother or what. I do not prefer call, because I'm very bad at talking. But can you recognize me by seeing the session? Ki sir is very bad, or sir is very introvert, or sir is very shy? No, because whenever you do code, at some point of time you have to come to a phase that you need to explain your code to somebody. When I was an intern, I was just writing code. Nobody gives a damn what I am writing. But the moment I become a team lead, a category lead in full stack, in GFG, I need to manage interns, right? Then they will ask me, sir, what you are writing, sir, how we can I say, sir, I am very introvert, you cannot ask me this question. So at certain point of time, you will be mature enough to understand that in every phase of career, you cannot write code, right? You cannot utilize your coding ability every time. You have to have a explanation ability. There are tons of engineers out there, but there are less majority of people that can teach, right? Why I am able to deliver session in NIT, IITs, on boot camp, faculty trainings, and corporate training? Why I am able to do this? Because in particular चीज, in particular point of time, I realized कि मुझे बोलना पड़ेगा. मैं वो उस टाइप का बंदा था जो अपना इंट्रोडक्शन भी नहीं दे पाता था. In college, I used to as a tremble when it comes to introduction, right? Sir, हनी चौरसिया की बात सुन लो ना, वरना Sir, I want to store data of my user login sign up. Shall I go with SQL, MongoDB? Okay. Okay. JWT is not enough. JWT is not storing ability. If you want to store data of user login and sign up, if your data is structured, you know the predefined structure of the data, it will not change. Go with SQL perfectly. But if you are using Node.js, my friend, you have to go with MongoDB. You decide if you are using Node.js or not. If you are using Node.js, then my friend, you have to go with MongoDB. You can either try Postgres as well. So, do you ever felt that your work has been used by company, your engineering skill, logical thing have been used? What I am getting paid for? Okay, what I'm getting paid for? They will utilize my skill. Nah? That is a contract that we have in companies. You are thinking too much, okay? You are too innocent for this industry. They're saying, "Na, you are too innocent for this cruel world." So, Akhil, you are too cute or too innocent. They will utilize. That's what money is for. Now they are paying you money. They will utilize your skill. If you will not do it, somebody else would. There are tons of people who is kind of eligible or will be agreeing to work on certain kind of role in lesser pay than me. So there are people. So this is not point of discussion ki they are utilizing. That's what companies are for. You will give something, the give and take relationship. You give something to them, they will pay you back. Simple. Okay, Akhil. So don't you worry about ki they are using your skill. That's what skills are for. You flaunt your skill, you make your place in that particular domain. They talk you out. They will give you something to deliver. They trust you with something. Okay, this guy can deliver. Why they are giving me the session? Ki I can interact with this much of audience with certain kind of topic. Why they are giving that this to me? Because they have confidence. Ki Vikas is doing for this particular thing from past 4 5 years. He will be able to deliver. No, you are not naive if you are attending the session, because 1.4 billion people is there in India. Only fewer of people is there, and you are one of them. How you are naive? Think like this. Yes, you need. Everyone has to improve. I have to improve. I am learning majority of the thing. Data science, machine learning. I am learning. That's what is called learning. Now that's what life is all about. You learn. You make mistake, right? Is there any alternative? We forget password and post. You can make, you can say verification token. You can verify the token. You can update the password again by using passport.js as well. By sending OTP verification, you can use OTP live as well. You can use twilio as well. Okay, so we are done with question. What the flow we had with front end? First build backend, then try to build front end. Simple. Then nothing logical. As I'm not saying it because I'm a backend developer, that's what I'm not saying. Every company do build backend first, then you have to build front end. Follow what the resources. If you're talking about, I would say documentation. There are two type of learning that happens. First one is called unstructured learning. Second one is called structured learning. If you are very disciplined guy, that majority of people are not. They claim they are disciplined, they are not. So if you are disciplined enough to sit 2 hour, 3 hour at the desk, you can do your work, then you can go with any playlist or certain kind of thing. But if you are not disciplined one, then you have to invest something. That's what paid boot camps are for. Which one is company's choice? Postgres SQL, hands down. We are using Postgres in companies. Next session, which topic? Custom hooks and rendering optimization. Why do industry prefer to use MongoDB? If unstructured data, Node.js compatibility, indexing, aggregation pipeline is easy, searching, sorting is much easier, or unstructured query. And do you know the MongoDB cell that you write command on? MongoDB cells is written in JavaScript. Do you guys knew that? You guys, everyone talk about compatibility. Why we use MongoDB with Node.js in Monstack? Why not Postgres? Why not SQL? Why not Cassandra? Why not CSV? Why other? Why not Redis? But one of the fun fact is before we close the session, the Mongo cell of the MongoDB is written in JavaScript. I have not seen attend last two. The next session will be on Monday, number tha. Okay, so we'll take question in other session as well. So you guys, the difference between MongoDB They say they are same. They are all are database, but they are use case. Depend on use case. Node.js is a backend library. MongoDB is a database. Sir, one last question: do you give importance to work-life balance? And let's say what? There is no work-life balance, boy. There is no work-life balance. You have to manage life with your work, because without work there is no life. Simple, hard and hard rule. Somebody might be disagreeing at this point, but yes, if you, first you have money, then you can talk about work-life balance. Majority of the people who is in starting in career don't have to worry about. Still, do you think this is my running time? Running time. I run. I'm athlete. I run. Why I'm taking session? Should I say कि okay I will not take session यार मजा नहीं आ रहा. I will be going on to running. उसमें ज़्यादा मजा आता है. But running के लिए शूज चाहिए. शूज के लिए पैसा कहाँ से आएगा? Again, it comes down to one question. One last question: Bootstrap or Tailwind? Tailwind. But if you know Bootstrap, because without Bootstrap you cannot do Tailwind. Sir, what are the best resource to start coding using Python placement? They have only C++ and Java. Python official document. But I'm a very big fan of official documentation because I don't suggest tutorials. But if you can find a good tutorial for Python, you can start with the Python tutorial. But do not go with one shot. Have a playlist. Sir, DSL is C++, Java or Python? Java. Hands down Java. Because Java give you backend as well. Java will make you backend developer as well if you are doing good in Java. So with one language you will be able to crack development as well and the DSA as well. Okay. So okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in the next session that will be on Monday at 3:30. Okay, if you want to join on React, if you want to learn React, you can join me on 3:30. And the Monday and Friday at 3:30 I'll be talking about React JS Advanced. Okay, till then you take care and have fun. Thank you for joining.